Why is the Transit crew in Blood of the Dead? I'm sure a lot of you are wondering how this happened or what the hell is going on. Like, why are they in those cryostasis pods and how the hell did they get there? Well, we're gonna delve into exactly how and why this happened, and I'm sure a lot of you are unaware of the events leading up to them being beneath the lab in Alcatraz. Back in the series of the comic books that were released for COD Zombies, there was a whole timeline of events that unfolded involving the Transit crew. Somehow Richtofen managed to gain contact with them and told them that he needed each of them for a grand purpose, so he had them acquire the Cranorium for him. After they went through numerous adventures in the comics, they eventually made their way to Richtofen, to the house from Revelations. Richtofen told them that he was done working with them and that they could stay in the world, that he'd leave for them because he'd actually go to another universe to follow through with his plans on the Cranorium. The Transit characters didn't trust him, obviously, so they decided they wanted to go with him so that they'd stay alive. And this is exactly what Richtofen wanted. After that, he told them he'd come back to get them and cross through a portal to a really young version of himself when he was just a soldier in World War I. And then he hands him the blood vials that he's had since Origins, and that's how Origins Richtofen has those blood vials from the beginning. After that, he makes his way back to the Transit crew, and they all teleport to another world under Alcatraz in the Blood of the Dead starting room. From here, he basically tells them that if they want to survive, they're going to need to go into the empty cryo chambers. Even though they're a bit wary about doing that, they obviously know that they're dealing with some sort of like godlike being that Richtofen is. I mean, he could teleport anywhere to different universes at his choosing, so I'm pretty sure that they didn't have much of a choice here. A little earlier in the comics though, he had the Transit crew stop by a few machines somewhere to draw their blood before getting to Revelations in the house to meet Richtofen. If you didn't know, there was also an entire thing about how there was a zombies Richtofen that the real Richtofen was in cahoots with, and the zombie Richtofen actually gave the real Richtofen those blood samples from the Transit crew after he flew back to the place that they drew their blood, and then he teleports back, and it's really convoluted. The zombies Richtofen in that story is the one that Maxis banished to being undead at the end of the buried Easter egg, because there's two endings where Richtofen wins and Maxis, but the Maxis one is the one that is true, that is actually canon. All of this is really convoluted, like I said, but hopefully you're sticking to what I'm saying here. Eventually, after that, Richtofen goes back to Alcatraz and shares the blood from the Transit crew with another him and Takeo, Dempsey, and Nikolai. And it's right after they teleport from Zetsubo-no-shima, so that's pretty cool. I don't know if you remember that, but right after the Easter egg in Zetsubo, they teleported somewhere to get their quote-unquote insurance policy, and it was the blood from the Transit crew that they needed to survive at the end of Revelations, which in turn results in them being stuck in an infinite loop. Obviously, what we saw from the Blood of the Dead intro sequence, that all changes because apparently the Cranorium rewrote itself somehow, and instead of the Transit characters' blood still being used, the Richtofen that screwed them over had different plans and decided that he needed their blood instead, and that's when Richtofen freaks out, saying our blood, mine blood, and stuff like that when Blood of the Dead starts. The reason that the Transit crew is there is because the only reason for the blood to work at all is for people to be in Alcatraz, in Purgatory Hell. It's basically like a sacrifice. Richtofen made sure that they're going to be safe from the zombies though, because he put them in cryostasis, so they don't have to spend their time, their infinite time there fighting zombies forever. Unfortunately, our characters in Blood of the Dead don't have cryopods, and they have to fight the undead and keep dying over and over again until they find a way to end the cycle. For some reason, the Transit characters' blood becomes futile when the Cranorium rewrites itself, so I guess they just ended up staying there for some reason. They're still there. Maybe it has something to do with suffering. That's what I thought. I mean, if the Transit crew weren't suffering in their purgatory, maybe that rendered their blood useless later on. That's just kind of a theory that I had, and like I said, it's really convoluted and hard to keep up with, so I don't blame anyone for not understanding. But other than that, that's why the Transit characters are there, because Richtofen needed their help to get the Cranorium and then steal their blood, only to unknowingly trap them forever in cryopods, unfortunately for them. What I'm really hoping for here is that we get to unlock the cryopods somehow and release the characters. I think that'd be really cool for the ending cutscene or something like that, to have the Primus crew and the Transit crew just finally meet up. It'd be one hell of a cutscene, that's for sure. If not, then they'd obviously play a part in the Easter egg of the map, because there's no way that they could, you know, just have led up to them being there in all the comics just for no reason. I mean, they obviously planned this for a very long time, and so now the fact that they're in those cryopods, it's got to mean something, right? I'm thinking that it's gonna play a huge part in the Easter egg at some point, whether it's through a cutscene at the end, if they release them, or whether it's actually unleashing them into the map as NPCs or something. I don't know. Maybe that's why they have the bot feature in Black Ops 4 Zombies now. I mean, maybe that's exactly why they have the bot feature, to have a way to play with the Tranzit characters. I mean, maybe that would be a cool way to just have more bots in the map, just to get 4 more extra players in the map. That would be really cool, actually. But other than that, let me know down in the comment section below what you think about this. Do you think that the Tranzit characters are here for a reason? I definitely think so. I mean, in terms of the Easter egg, of course. And what do you think about all of this with the undead Richtofen giving the blood from the Tranzit characters to the real Richtofen, and all of this kind of stuff from the comics and everything? And there's a lot of story involved in this game, and I think that a lot of people don't want to like this game because of stuff like this. I mean, there's so much to follow with, you know, comics and ciphers and all of this stuff, quotes on radios, and the actual Easter egg when it gets complete and everything. And there's so much stuff to follow. I just don't know that people really enjoy that, but I absolutely love it. That's why I love making videos like this and theorizing about stuff like this. So I think that, again, a lot of people aren't going to enjoy this, but if you're a hardcore zombies player like me, you definitely love it. The only thing left to talk about, I guess, is would this be the final map that we'd be playing in as our characters? I mean, is this the very end? Because back in the music video that they gave us, they actually showed us that they were all dying over and over and over again. And I mean, do they eventually get to solve and break the cycle? Because after they break the cycle, what happens to them? Where do they go? And how do the Tranzit characters fit into all of this? I mean, what is their purpose in the map? Because obviously Treyarch has a reason for them being there. We just don't know what that reason is yet. I mean, if you're watching this in the future and you already know, then it's kind of a pointless video to be talking about, unless you didn't know that how they got here. Imagine the Tranzit characters running around with you and possibly finding or just helping you find different Easter eggs around the map. I think that would be so cool. It would almost be like the Mob of the Dead game mode we had back in the day in Black Ops 2, where you could play with 8 people, and I just think that would be so cool. That would be a great Easter egg, and who knows, maybe that could lead into more game modes for zombies. I know they have the rush mode, and I haven't played that actually. I should actually try to play it, but I mean, maybe that could lead into more modes in the future and stuff like that. So I don't know. I really don't know what the Tranzit characters are doing here. I mean, hopefully eventually there's some step that leads to us putting in a passcode or something like that into their cryo chamber, and maybe possibly letting them out. And I don't know. I really don't know what we're looking forward to here with these characters. I'm just really excited to see them back from Tranzit, and see how they've changed and everything, and see their dialogue especially. And hopefully, maybe when we get some remastered maps in the future like Tranzit or something. I know that's a far-fetched idea, but we do have a Tranzit Easter eggs in the blackout mode of Black Ops 4, so I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that possibly we could be seeing remastered maps such as Tranzit come back. Hopefully they could remaster Tranzit in the way that they could graphically change it. So obviously a lot of people didn't like the fog. That was the biggest negative aspect of the map, and also the fact that it was huge, it was colossal, and it was something they were going for back in the day that they just didn't have the resources to do back then. And I think that they could have that today and just kind of work on it and improve on the map and everything. And I think it would be a lot better. Just remove the fog, you know. But other than that, maybe when we release these characters, we send them back to Tranzit, which would make sense for the remastered map if we get it later on. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Again, let me know down in the comment section below what you thought about this. What do you think the Tranzit characters are here for? And what do you think is going to happen? So again, let me know down in the comment section below. But other than that, that's going to be it. See you in the next one.